financial literacy, and the human condition. Welcome to Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Rayam.
Hi, it's Francis. I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for watching this video. If you're catching us on YouTube, please help us help others by clicking like, subscribe, and all notifications so you don't miss any videos. And check back for the next video. I think you're going to love it. Thanks again. For more information, you can visit us at hugyourmoney.com.
Welcome to Financial Fitness. I'm Jess Tyler, along with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Rayam. Hi.
Hi, Jess. How are you?
I am doing good, and I see that we have a guest today.
We do have a guest today. Our guest today joins us from the UK and London, England, of course, right? And Wall Street. So he's someone who's helping to make investing more approachable for our next generation, which, of course, I love. Joe Pack is our guest today, and he grew up in a small town in Washington State, worked his way into a career in Wall Street and London, and now he's using that experience to give college students a major leg up, if you will, in financial literacy in what I think is a very interesting way.
I'm so hoping there's a British accent. Is there a British accent?
No. There is not, but thanks for having me on. I'll work on it, but I grew up in Washington State, so no British accent.
All right.
So I just want to say, Joe's platform is called TickUp, not uptick, folks. TickUp, okay? Very clever. Launching what is poised to be the largest stock picking competition for college students, and we'll talk more about how we might expand that, in the country today. So how did this get on our financial fitness radar? Because it's not just about bragging rights. It's actually offering a $50,000 grand prize.
Wow.
And real world experience that could change the financial future of the participants. So welcome, Joe Pack. I can't wait to hear this story.
Thanks for having me on, Francis.
You're welcome. Do you mind if we start with your own story? You grew up in this town in Washington, and you say that investing helped your family in some way?
Yeah. So, I grew up in Richland, Washington, which is near where the Hanford side is. So one of these nuclear projects that they had back in the day. From there, I ended up going to Duke. And while I was at Duke, I started getting into the world of investing. And I really had, really no idea or resources at the time. I would try to find things online, but I went from, doing anything from penny stocks to, currency trading. And honestly, losing most of my money along the way. There were definitely times where I felt that I had an edge, but then, things like taking too much leverage and too much risk, which I think as a young college student, you're just prone to do. I learned, lessons pretty much the hard way. I think one of the biggest wake-up calls was when I lost the money that I had saved up to go on spring break, and I had to borrow it from a friend's family. So I think these lessons that I learned early on were very impactful. And I then started to change the way that I approached investing. I started to become more disciplined, using leverage in a more responsible way, and sometimes, not needing to. And that led me to getting a job on Wall Street. I actually ended up starting off as what they call a rates, derivatives, options trader. So this was, derivatives on derivatives. And it was a world that was, fairly unknown to me at the time, just trading stocks and currencies, things that are, quite more well known. And it went from there. I think I had a natural tenacity for it. And I ended up taking a job over in London and running some portfolios over here, both on the bond side as well as macro fund management. And I guess 8 years later, having been in London, I decided to leave and start TickUp. So it's been quite an interesting journey.
It's amazing. I read that you said that investing helped get your family out of debt. Are you willing to talk about that?
I think it's one of those things that trading, both as a career and as a personal investor, has given me the ability to help pay off not only my student loans, but also loans that my family has taken on to help support me to go to college. University in the US now is absolutely crazy. I believe Duke's tuition is over $60K per year for 4 years. That's an incredible amount that unless, you're managing your money wisely, it's almost impossible to think of the career path that, you're paying that off within a reasonable amount of time. So I think it takes a lot of discipline. And also, you have to take selective risks. I think investing does involve risks, but at the same time, you can do it in a measured way. And over the long term, it works out if you're smart and diligent about it.
Yeah, I want to take this second to caution people just because I'm here saying, did investing help your family get out of debt? Remember that Joe just said he lost all his money and had to borrow from his his friend's family to go on spring
Yeah,
break. So, yes, you can invest and yes, you can do it wisely, but you need the kind of help that you get from a professional, and that's why Joe's here today talking to us.
definitely.
Um, I think a lot of people would maybe hear your story. I grew up in Washington State, and then I went to Duke University, and then I got a job on Wall Street, and then I was in London. And they may be thinking that you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, but uh,
Mhm.
not the case, right?
No, definitely not. I think I was fortunate where I had really devoted parents who really supported me on every step of the way. I think financially, it's not like we were anything apart from middle class. My dad used to actually drive me, and my mom as well would drive me 4 hours one way to Seattle and 4 hours back. So 8 hours round trip twice a week so that I could play on the best soccer team in the state. And that's actually what helped get me into Duke was being scouted by the Duke soccer coach. So it was by no means an easy journey. And obviously from Duke, I was on my own. I think I had to navigate, the world of investing and finance. I think I saw a lot of my peers who had lots of family friends, as well as their own parents who were involved in the financial industry and knew how to prepare for interviews and all these things. And I really had to find my own way in terms of looking up resources and trying to network and getting my way there. And ultimately, it was the mix of someone who also had a passion for soccer and one of my econ professors who had a soft spot for me that helped me land my first role. So it wasn't a smooth path by any means. I mean, I think when I moved to London initially, it was to take a risk on a role. So I think these things ended up all coming together, but by no means would I say it was a silver spoon experience.
Yeah. Thank you. We have a guest who comes on periodically named the sports doctor, Dr. Bob Weil, and we always end up, we never mean it, but we never intend it, but we always end up in some show talking about don't, for parents, don't just assume that your kid is going to go get a full ride on a scholarship because they were a great soccer player, right? But in your case, it happened. So it does happen that you can win these
Yeah.
games this way, right?
I
Um,
mean, yeah.
yeah.
Very
No, go
difficult.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I wasn't actually on a full ride. I did get a scholarship, but the full rides are, some of the most talented people you'll ever come across. One of my best friends who was on a full ride ended up being the number one draft in the MLS. So the talent that you're competing with at these levels is very intense. And I mean, being able to drive, 8 hours round trip to get to a practice, it's not for everyone. Like I can't imagine myself working now and being able to do that. I think I was fortunate my parents were in a place where they could do that and take turns. But it's not an easy journey to bank on, the sports scholarship.
Man, we're just on the other side of Mother's Day, and it's a good time to just give a nod to both parents. Any
Yeah,
parent who is raising a child who is doing what truly must be the hardest job in the world.
yeah, definitely.
My hat is off to them, and I'm sure that they're very proud of you and that you love them dearly. Yeah, so obviously your personal experience has helped shape the way that you built TickUp, right?
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to talk about this competition, by the way, folks. If you think I'm just getting I'm just getting Joe's story, it's coming. But I like to get some background on this. So based on your personal experience and your experience now, right,
Yeah.
earlier and now, what do you think is missing in the way that young people are taught about investing today? What's broken and how does TickUp aim to fix that?
I think what's broken is one, the ability to be patient. I think people are looking for a quick fix. I think people want an instant solution to something that, if you're doing it properly with discipline, takes time. And part of that time is putting in the effort to learn. And what I find a lot is that a platform for the younger generation, it needs to be engaging. I mean, you're competing with, Instagram and TikTok. If you're not entertaining, you're not going to win out. Like, think about how Duolingo is so popular now compared to every other language learning tool that was there beforehand. It's because they've made it fun.
Yeah.
And what we aim then to do with TickUp is be engaging, but also deliver to people the route to learning. So, um, the data that's behind it and being able to explain why this is important. I think being able to combine both the educational element with an engaging platform is the way to go, and it's the way to reach the younger generation.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. Without getting too deeply into it, I guess, I'd love to ask you, how your platform maybe uses AI or the technology today, uh, along with a humanistic approach to
Yeah.
accomplish that. How do you get people? We deal with this all the time. How do you make money fun? And
Yeah.
investing is certainly more fun than managing debt. But
Yeah.
I think you and I are doing similar things in gamifying what we've got in order to hold them. So can you, without giving away any of your trade secrets, of course, can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how you feel about that, how you think about it?
Yeah. So I'm happy to talk about how we incorporate AI into the platform. So AI is used in a few different ways. So one is we learn from your interests what sort of thing piques your curiosity. So the way that we go about TickUp is we present to you stocks in a swipeable format. We find that that's an engaging way, and we find that that reduces choice paralysis. When you say, "What should I invest in?" or "What should I invest in?" or "How should I even start looking at stock or indices? Where do I even begin?" I think presenting someone with one question at a time, which is this one card, one stock. Would you be interested in this? And swiping left to pass or right to save it allows you to reduce this, thousands and thousands of stocks to this one question: is this interesting to you or not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. The big
So, I
list,
mean,
the overwhelming lists. Sure.
exactly. So first on this card, what we've done is we've mimicked what they call a Wikipedia hole. Do you know what a Wikipedia hole is? It's where
Uh, I'm going to let you explain it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so it's where you just, you start reading an article and you end up clicking on something else that's related, and you just get so interested in it that you go deeper into the topic because your curiosity naturally takes you there. I
Yeah.
think what we've done is we've looked to replicate that with a one-touch button on the card that allows you to research with the backing of AI who takes all this information, and we've created this kind of tree of questions that gives you natural follow-up questions that might interest you. So thinking about, tell me about some of the risks and industry trends related to this company. And then if the company, for example, is like Duolingo, then you can talk about, what's going on in the educational technology space. And you can go deeper into that and be like, how is AI being used in the educational tech space? So there's this tree that you can go down and you can learn. And we learn from your behavior what it is that you're interested in. So then as you go through all the data, if you decide to swipe left and you decide to pass, we know you're not interested in this sort of thing. And if you go right, we know that you are interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we learn from that. And that learning takes time. So we have a machine learning model. Our CTO who is brilliant. He went to MIT and he specializes in this. And we are able to then better present to you things that you may think are interesting. And then we allow you to be able to view the fundamentals that support or disprove, an investment thesis for that stock. So even if you're new to investing, it allows you to start getting a sense of what do people pay attention to and what's important. Where else we use AI is we use it to summarize large pieces of information. So if we think about like an earnings call can last an hour. It's very tough for you to carve that out of your time. So we use AI to help summarize those earnings call into, what were the pros and cons that came out of this meeting, and what is the important information that I need to know. So there's different ways that we're using that to really condense down large amounts of data to really streamline for you, someone that's very busy but is interested in a way to be able to process all this information.
That's awesome. We're going to come back and talk about this TickUp Pick Six
Yeah,
competition, but I just want to explain to people before we take a break that this card you're talking about is part of an app. And
correct.
it is pretty cool, I have to say. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll
Thanks.
have much more with Joe Pack coming up. But in the meantime, Francis, can we get your phone number?
Of course, it's 413-773-3333.
And you can go to hugyourmoney.com too to get more information. We'll be back with part two of Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Ram on WHMP.
Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor is underwritten by Franklin County Technical School. We build futures. Visit fcts.us or call 413-863-9561.
Welcome back to Financial Fitness. I'm Jess Tyler along with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Ram, and we have a special guest with us, Joe Pack.
Welcome back, Joe. Okay, now let's get into this competition. All right, I want to win $50,000 if I'm a college student. $50,000 got my attention. Let's start by asking you, what makes this TickUp Pick Six competition different than a typical stock market game or some of the competitions you've seen in the past?
Yeah, so I think what makes us different is that we've embedded the competition into a platform that naturally helps you find your investments, right? So instead of saying, find your best three stock picks and present them with, no tools or framework, we are an entire platform that's built on helping you discover and learn more about stocks. So for us, it's that combination and accessibility that makes it much simpler. All you have to do is then download the app, select 6 stocks on the app, and you can use the app to find those 6 stocks. And it's as simple as that to set up. And I think one of the most important things in getting more engaged with the markets and investing and becoming more familiar is just starting and getting that exposure to it. And I think that from my personal experience, that happened to me when I was in college. And even though I wasn't good at it when I was in college, that exposure helped set me up for the platform down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. For somebody listening who thinks this is like you're picking your square on a football card, can you talk a little bit about the criteria so if I'm a college student and I'm wanting to win this contest and I pick my 6 stocks, how do I know what you're looking for as a winner? Is it just the person who makes the most money? Are there other things?
Right. So for the grand prize, it'll be based on the highest return, and we allow you to make a certain amount of changes over at certain intervals, and those details will be announced at a later date. But yes, you are primarily incentivized to seek the highest return, and while that may incentivize taking riskier stocks, for us, we think the first step is having more exposure and learning. What we'll also allow you to do, therefore, is then look at your portfolio and look how it performed on certain metrics that more professional analysts would look at. So for example, something like a Sharpe ratio, where you can see, actually, did I make this return with an excessive amount of risk, or did I make it with a limited amount of risk and I just chose really good stocks? So what we're trying to do is help familiarize the person with them, but we by no means believe that this is the one and only path that will take you towards becoming an investing prowess.
Wow, it's amazing what you've put into this. But of course, my inquisitive mind, I'll say, I was going to say skeptical, but I'll say inquisitive. My inquisitive mind says, $50,000 is not pocket change. Who's funding this, and what's the bigger goal behind this giveaway?
For us, it's a win-win situation. I think what we're trying to do is attract more attention to the app, and we're trying to find users who understand how useful that it can be. I think the most useful case for an app that helps you discover and learn more about stocks is a competition that requires you to discover and learn more about stocks. So for us, we believe that is mutually beneficial. And at the end of the day, we're not a brokerage. We're focused purely on discovery. So we have no incentive at all to, have you invest money with us or, start investing in stocks in an unsafe or uneducated way. So what we've done is we've formatted this competition. We've lined it up with our platform because we believe that our interests are aligned.
Yeah, so that was an important point. I think a very important point because there's so many stock apps out there. So it's privately funded, is what you're telling me.
That's correct. We first did our first capital raise at the end of last year, and this was done privately with angel investors. I mean, at the end of the day, the way that we make our money is having a lot of users and eventually being able to launch premium features, as well as then being able to share more fundamental features that can help you on along the way that some more advanced investors might like. But for the basic user, we believe, and my mission is for that to always be free.
I was just going to say it. It's my favorite price. I downloaded the app this morning to check it
Oh,
out.
nice.
And yeah, it was fun. It was fun. You see that? Okay. And it was free. And entering this college student stock picking competition, the Pick Six, is free also to college students, correct?
Yes, completely free. As we spoke about a bit earlier, we are looking to expand this. And part of this expansion is that we realized, as I'm sure you have as well, is that financial literacy isn't just a problem that starts in college and goes away as you get older. I think I find many people, my peers in the 30s or younger in their 20s, who still get stuck in this place of where do I start? And it's always difficult to figure out that question. And I think the best way for me, again, is just having some exposure and slowly starting to learn and taking those first steps.
Yeah, I want to ask you a little bit more about what the college students are actually doing in this competition. Are they just picking stocks, or is there more to it? How are they learning through this
Yeah.
process?
So we are also launching a social side of it, which acts as a forum that allows people to share their ideas. And we will be very strict on the type of moderation that occurs in terms of the level of quality of discourse that occurs. So I think what you find is on a lot of these finance apps that you mentioned, a
Yeah,
lot of the type of information that you get is, hey, buy this stock for no reason because
yeah,
it's going to go to the moon. For
yeah.
us, we believe that we want to set the bar higher in terms of where the type of discussion and information sharing being had. And I think one of that is by leading by example. And I think I will be a regular contributor to the app, helping guide this is the things I'm considering, or these are stocks I'm looking at. And I think the way that people are very creative. They love to share information. I think we'll find, economic and finance students sharing what they're looking at and being able to share the stocks that they're picking, or, the type of analysis that they're doing. So we believe that there will be a lot of organic content that makes its way onto the app.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I have a number of those platforms that I check out, and I'm always frustrated, to say the least, that people can just launch whatever thought is on their mind. Some people use it to manipulate things because they know they have newbies on the thread, and so they tell people to buy or sell, and they're really just trying to get their shares from them. It's pretty
Yeah.
sad how that works. But speaking of social media, and Jess might weigh in on this. I haven't let
Yeah,
Jess
sure.
say anything today, but speaking of social media, what do you think of things like Reddit or TikTok that promote themselves as some sort of financial education source?
Mm. I think with any sort of tool that allows you to be able to reach a broader audience, you will always find good and bad. And I think that some resources are actually valuable. I think it's the same thing on who you trust to get your news or information from. I think you
Right.
have to look into what is a person's background. Have they worked in this field? I think just because someone is on TikTok or Reddit, I wouldn't, write them off. And I think that you do find really thoughtful content on there, but at the same time, you have to, wade through a lot of misinformation to get there. And I think that's it's not just sticking with finance. I think that's with a lot of things based on social media, right? I think it's really hard to know what correct information is, so it takes that additional information. I think what we're looking to do is help on the moderation side, but at the end of the day, we can't tell you, if someone's investment thesis is wrong or right. I think that is subjective at the end of the day. So there will always be that part where that's why we believe that this tool is great, because you learn from yourself. Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to take whatever this influencer has told me, I'm learning the fundamentals and, the basis for investing myself, so that I can decide what is, good and bad information.
Okay, so it's free. TickUp is free, and the competition is free to get in. But you're
Yeah.
investing your own money, right? Like you're picking five stocks. The goal is to make the most. They win the grand prize, but you're still investing your own money in these stocks, correct?
No, so this is actually all done virtually. So the picking six stocks will be done on the app. It will be a virtual portfolio. So you're getting to practice absolutely risk free, and you're
Oh,
starting to be
nice.
able to understand how things move. And actually, as we move this, as I was telling Francis a bit earlier, we are now actually going to expand this. We'll change the format slightly, and that's to be announced. But we realize that more people want to be involved. So, Jesse, yourself, you'll be able to take part in this competition. I think it'd be a great way to learn and have fun, and honestly, catch up with some friends and make it a competition between yourselves as well.
Oh, fun. Now that I know I don't have to lose my own money, then I'm totally
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
So,
that's
I mean,
great to hear.
that's one of the things that's so cool about it is it's free to download the app, right? I don't want to sound like a commercial because it's not what we do, but it's free to download the app. It's free to enroll, right, and compete, and
Yes.
it's virtual money. I mean, you got a
Mm.
shot if you do this well at making $50,000 in a grand prize or 15,000. I mentioned that, but we didn't talk about the team prize. There's a $15,000 team prize. What's that about?
So the team prize was about encouraging collaboration. Like you said, you need to learn. As part of this expansion, though, into making it more accessible for everyone, we're actually going to keep it with individuals only. So we're going to repurpose this prize money. And
Okay.
the reason for that is this is actually really funny. As we started marketing this, we realized that college students were actually gatekeeping the information about the competition and not sharing it with each other so that they would
Really?
improve their chances of winning.
They want to
So,
win.
yes, so the entire team aspect or deciding to share it, that premise was proven falsely pretty quickly based on feedback. And as a small startup, we've got to listen to what people are saying, and we're adjusting that quickly. And yeah, I found that pretty funny.
That is pretty funny. You know, I just want to say that most of our listeners and viewers, well, many of them anyway, are parents of college age students. What is something they could do this week to help their kids be more financially fit?
That's an interesting question. I think if I was doing this myself, I would give my child $100 portfolio, put it in there, and tell them to just try it out. And I think you learn so much more with a hands-on experience than you would in a million lectures. And I think it's because with investing, you can't write in a textbook the perfect way into invest. Things are constantly changing. The market is changing. The economy is changing. And I think part of it is you have to live and experience it. And part of that is just getting hands-on experience. So that's what I would do. I don't think you need to have a lot. I think just any amount that you would pay attention to, I think would be the way that I would start personally.
That's great. I can't believe that we're out of time already, but I just want to thank you again for joining us, Joe Pack. And if people want more
Thanks so much.
information about this,
So TICKUP app.com, TickUp.com.
I hope that people will check this out and college students and parents will all look at this because it could be the spark that changes the way that they think about money or invest or think about their financial future. So thank you very much for coming on and sharing this with us.
Thanks so much for having me on.
And
Okay.
Francis, let's get your phone number too if anybody has questions.
Oh, yeah, nobody wants to talk to me now.
They all do.
413-773-3333.
And you can visit hugyourmoney.com. We'll be back next week with another edition of Financial Fitness with the Money Doctor, Dr. Francis Ram on WHMP.
Will you help us spread the word about financial fitness? Please like, subscribe, and choose all. Thank you.